Things to talk about today that have nothing to do with budgets or BBBs or big beautiful bills or rescission packages. There's a lot more going on other than that. Thank God. Like Chinese terror fungus. That sounds horrifying. It's okay, they caught him in the act though, but it goes to show you why it's such an important issue. Now juxtapose that with the Arizona governor who just vetoed a bill that would prohibit the Chinese government from owning farmland next to military bases. Wow. We also have former White House crooks writing books, and she's still not good at the job. And ICE will not apologize. And good for that. Thanks for finding me. Welcome to Thursday. Week's flying by, at least for me already. Thanks for being here. Appreciate your time, as always. Thanks for finding the Wicked Radio live stream. All part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams, all the social media channels, all that good stuff. And if you're listening later or watching on the replay, thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Make sure you put your notifications on as well. All right. I got an apology to make here. I teased you there and I said I'm not going to talk about the big, beautiful budget bill anymore. And I'm really not, kind of, sort of, because I'm done with it too. But here's my one takeaway. One final word on this thing, okay, before we get into other stuff. At this point, and you may hate me for saying this, but at this point with the budget bill, if you didn't speak up, you're going to have to shut up. And that goes for me too. If you didn't contact somebody that's your... Look, we're all aware of the issue now, right? We know Elon's position. We know that it doesn't cut enough. It raises the debt ceiling. It doesn't like that. So that means we're borrowing more money. And most of our tax money is going to paying off interest payments instead of a programs for Americans. You know the White House position. You know how that goes. All the good things in the bill. Border security, enforcement for immigration policies, even some support for voter ID, you know that, support for the military. And they think all of this is going to actually raise the GDP. You know the issue on both sides. We all know. Here's the bottom line. If you didn't speak up, and if you didn't form an opinion on this either way and reach out to your elected representatives and get them, especially in the Senate as it goes there, to go the way you want it to go, you can't do anything about it. We have had more information than ever about this thing, which means we're all more informed than ever about a balanced budget, which is a good thing, which means it's time to take action and do something about it. So if you didn't speak up by this time, and it goes for me too, we're going to have to shut up, okay? That's the first thing. But the most important takeaway is this pushback in this argument, and I know a lot of it is just like, oh, it's more of the swamp in Washington and politics. No. What if you thought about it this way? This pushback and this argument back and forth is a great thing. Number one, what I just said there, we're more aware than ever of how important it is not to be in this national debt spiral, which will wipe us out eventually if we don't figure out how to fix this thing. And the second thing is, more people than ever, that's all of us, know how to reach out and force the issue with our elected representatives. And through this pushback back and forth, and I know that the media loves jumping on this thing. It's Elon versus Trump in the fight. That's good. You wouldn't want a major force like Elon or a major influential president like Trump getting everything they want. The back and the forth, the fight, eventually leads to something much better. Maybe not now, but down the road. It's a good thing. Trust me, it's good. All right, I'm done talking about it. I'm done. I swear to God. Except for one more thing. This was the most entertaining thing that came out of this whole drudgery this week about the big, beautiful bill. Senator Mike Lee, and he's an important factor in this because he's going to be voting on this thing as well. He went back yesterday, and he's really good on social media, or at least his people are. He went back and he said, what would you think about this proposal? It's not a new one. It's from the 1980s. Warren Buffett. We all know billionaire Warren Buffett. He suggested this in the early 1980s. It might have been 1980 where he said this, and it's brilliant.
I can end the deficit in 5 minutes. You just pass a law that says that anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. Yeah. Now you've got the incentives in the right place.
Boom. Absolutely. I would love that. Now, is that going to happen? Absolutely not. Not a snowball's chance in hell. But the thought process is there to hold these politicians accountable and stop putting in their little pet projects and what their consultants actually want in this bill. I like the idea. And laugh all you want, but Senator Mike Lee is actually going to propose that. It's going to be dead on arrival, but at least the thought process is there. So that's a good thing. All right. So that's it. It's for all of us, not just you. It's me too. Speak up or shut up on the bill if you don't like it. All right. This is, speaking of speaking up, I love this. I absolutely love what happened. Going back to the state of Massachusetts yesterday, because amazingly, it's become ground zero for the deportation issue, right? I think it was the day before yesterday, I was talking about their Operation Patriot, and they deported in the month of May without telling too many people. I think it was over 1,500 illegals, mostly illegal criminal aliens. Well, we also had this issue where a lot of ICE agents across the country now are wearing masks because they're getting doxxed, and which is horrific. But leftist extremists are doxing them and their families. They're getting their personal information. It's horrifying, so they started to wear masks. In the state of Massachusetts, I've been talking about the worst mayor in America quite a bit, Mayor Wu. She's the rare combination of incompetent and corrupt. But there she is. Backed up by an incompetent and corrupt governor, Maura Healey. So imagine being the U.S. attorney for the state of Massachusetts and what you have to deal with there, right? Mayor Wu, the worst mayor in America, is what we need to refer to her as. She actually made a statement. Now, ICE agents in Massachusetts and other places throughout the entire nation have been doxxed, like I said, so they began wearing masks. What's Mayor Wu's reaction to that? She said they're like a secret police. Like she really said that. That's her statement about the ICE agents doing their job, a secret police. Now, as if that doesn't put them in more danger. So, we talked about this lady before. The Massachusetts U.S. attorney for that district, her name is Leah Foley. She came out with a statement yesterday in response to this. First of all, which I love to respond to it. But secondly, I love it because of what she said. There will be absolutely no apology from her or her office for what they're going to do, which I absolutely love. Absolutely love what she's doing with this, all right? Here's Leah Foley, U.S. Attorney for the state of Massachusetts.
Regardless of the noise being generated by politicians who either do not understand federal law or simply believe our nation's immigration laws should not be enforced, we will not apologize for doing our job.
I cannot love that enough. That's what we need. People who have the guts to stand up against this. And this seems to be kind of a new thing, and I'm sure it's because she has the backing of the White House right now and President Trump, but she will not. Don't ever apologize for doing your job and speaking out against a corrupt, idiotic mayor who called your people, ICE agents, doing their job, which is the will of the people. She had an election where people decided this. And this mayor decides to call them secret police. Well, they have the backing, at least in that state. And I'm sure because that toe's in the water now, it'll be all across the country, who will not apologize for them because of that. And the whole reason why they have to wear masks in the first place now to hide their identities is because they're getting doxxed by these lunatics. And isn't it funny now? Isn't it amazing how the mayor of Boston, the far left, who basically is a Marxist, I mean, it's unbelievable, how she's attacking ICE agents for wearing masks now. So you're telling me that a political party that was all in favor of masking up everybody during COVID and then after, and you remember the summer of 2020 riots where everybody was masked up, and in college campus anti-Semitic riots where everybody was masked, but they don't like ICE agents doing their job to take criminals off the streets, illegal criminals who were here and they shouldn't have been here in the first place, but they don't like them wearing masks. So good for the U.S. Attorney from Massachusetts, Leah Foley, for getting the final word in there. Good for you. Fantastic. Now, this kind of leads into this issue. Why is it so important? Why is it so important that we do this kind of thing? Absolutely criminals on the street, drug dealers, gangbangers, murderers, of course. Obviously, that's important. But in the largest possible way, here's the most glaring example of all of why this is so important to enforce these deportations and to keep an eye out on this. Because what's been able to come into this country just isn't at the street level. It's not just drug dealers, and it's not just gangbangers, and it's not just, people who were mules, hiding people across the border, which is bad enough. Here's the story that's the shining example of why this is so important, why deportations of illegal criminals are so important. Chinese terror fungus. Huh? Well, that sounds horrific. Yes. Well, yes, it is. Here's the good news out of this one, though. They caught them in time. They're obviously going to be charged and probably detained and not deported. But it leads to the bigger issue of how scary this is. Agro-terrorism and a scary, dangerous, potentially deadly pathogen was snuck into our country through 2 Chinese nationals. I saw this story yesterday. I was like, and it happened early in the afternoon, and the headline was 2 Chinese nationals caught and apprehended. And, and you look at the story kind of like with a side eye, and you're like, wow, that's interesting. As the story went on further and further into the day, they weren't just Chinese nationals directly, here illegally, but directly tied to the CCP. They were here doing something much, much worse. By the time last night rolled around, Fox got a hold of the story. Here's the description of exactly what they were doing.
According to the Justice Department, one of them worked at a laboratory connected to the University of Michigan. The FBI arrested 33-year-old Yu Qing Zhan for allegedly smuggling in a fungus called Fusarium graminearum, which could be used as an agroterrorism weapon. The gases from the fungus could cause liver damage, vomiting, and reproductive defects in humans and livestock. DOJ officials say Zhan has direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party, and she works at the University of Michigan, and her boyfriend is connected to a university back in China.
Well, I don't think that could be any more horrific, but they caught them. Thank God. Great work from the FBI there in the Department of Justice. Agroterrorism with a pathogen. And did you hear the connections there? Another major university, this time the University of Michigan, tied into that one, and then tied into directly to the CCP back in Beijing, and a Chinese university. And it was here right under our noses until we decided to crack down on this stuff. Again, the good news is they caught it. The scary news, if you don't want to think about this, don't. But the question's out there. How much more of this stuff is going on? And yet you have an idiotic mayor, like in the city of Boston, trying to prevent ICE agents on the street level from deporting people. It's absolutely incredible what the feds now trying to do their jobs are up against. Especially when you consider this. Now, keep in mind the Chinese terror fungus story. Now, juxtapose that with also, on the very same day, what happened in the state of Arizona. We're going out west for this one. Because the Arizona governor, Katie Hobbs, her whole election is still in question. But Katie Hobbs just vetoed a state bill called SB 1109. SB 1109. Again, keep the Chinese terror fungus story in mind when you think about this one. Okay, well, what is that all about? Let me go to the direct description of it. SB 1109 in the state of Arizona would have prohibited the People's Republic of China from owning or acquiring more than 30% interest in Arizona property. Oh, there's more. The bill would have protected military, commercial, and agricultural assets from potential foreign espionage and sabotage near critical sites like Luke Air Force Base. She said the bill was ineffective at counter-espionage. So on the same day, we had the FBI, maybe even the CIA, busting 2 Chinese nationals for introducing a terror fungus into or trying to develop that and introducing it into our farmland. The very same day, the governor of Arizona vetoed a bill that would have prevented Chinese nationals from owning farmland. Not only that, next to military bases in sensitive areas. And they don't think the crackdown on illegals is important, both at the street level and the very serious national level. That's where we are. But again, there's always good in this craziness. Always. There's always a great takeaway. And the takeaway on this one is we're aware of it now. Because that's although scary, and I'm with you, although scary, it's an incredible story. And we're aware of it now, which means you can do something. Again, speak up or shut up, right? Well, here's a different take. Here's a different take. Just a couple of minutes ago, we had the U.S. Attorney for the state of Massachusetts saying, ICE will not apologize. We will do our job. This is the will of the people. Good for her. That's strong, right? I don't know this for a fact. I don't know what her political party is. I have no idea. I would imagine she's a Republican. I don't really know. But that's one view. That's pretty much the side of, the White House and the administration and ICE and the feds, and that's how that's going. Here's one view from the Democrats. Let's go back to the Northeast for a second, and this is Vermont. Democratic Representative Becca Balint. Tell me this isn't the worst argument to allow illegal aliens into our country of all time. She's not helping out anybody in this, but this might be the most demeaning, insulting thing I've ever heard in my life. And she didn't just write it on social media. She said it in front of a crowd in her district. Vermont Democratic Rep Becca Balint. This is what she thinks of those illegal aliens.
If we don't have avenues for people to come here legally to work or to
Yes.
build a home here.
Yes.
I'm going to be really crude right now. We're not going to have anybody around to wipe our asses because we don't have enough people.
Who did so she thought about that. She formed it into a talking point, went on stage somewhere in Vermont, in her district, whoever was listening to her, and said it out loud. And now it's there forever. Now, I don't think that's the official position from most people in her political party or even probably in like her office. But she said it. So don't think that all of this call for, stopping the deportations and opening the border and letting anybody who's anybody, including Chinese foreign nationals or just people looking for, a new life here. Don't think that's all because it's out of goodness of heart. That's the true attitude of a lot of those people, because they wouldn't be there to wipe our asses. And what she really means is do the dirty work. This is the argument you always hear, to do the jobs that Americans won't want to do, which is the biggest crock of all time. If we didn't have them, you've heard this too. Politicians have said this. If we didn't have illegal aliens here or undocumented migrants, no one would pick our food. Oh, really? Are you completely sure about that? Or maybe it is what she thinks. No one would wipe our asses. That might be the most, that's really saying something. That might be the most insulting thing I've ever heard a politician say. God. And it's everywhere. All right. But now we'll wrap it up with this. White House crooks writing books. I put that in the headline because I like it because it rhymes. Not officially a crook, but boy, you couldn't think of a more, oh God, I don't know, what would you say? More in-your-face, obvious liar than Karine Jean-Pierre, the former press secretary. Now, part of this is, granted, I totally get it, all press secretaries. I would even say even the current one, even though I think she's great, Caroline Leavitt for the Trump administration. It's their job to be the spokesperson and the mouthpiece for the president and the administration and the White House at the time, right? It's their job. It's what they do. But I was wrong about Karine Jean-Pierre. I thought this whole time she was really, really bad at what she does because of what she had to work with, right? Can you, first of all, put it in perspective. Can you imagine having to work for the Biden administration, trying to clean up that mess, what was going on behind the scenes? A guy who was obviously demented, but you have to sell it to the American people that, oh, he's fine, he's okay, he's fine. I thought that's why she was bad at what she does. No, she's just bad at talking. She's not good. Well, she also, like all the former Democrats, they're all rats running from the ship. They're all writing books. Saw the Jake Tapper book that he's still trying to sell. He's out there saying, we didn't know. We were lied to. We didn't know Biden's brain was gone. We didn't know he was demented. Right. Well, this one's a little bit worse because Karine Jean-Pierre was in the administration. She was there. She saw the whole thing and still did it. But now she says that was all terrible behind the scenes, and she's writing a book too. It's been a while since I heard her, and I forgot how bad she is. This is a little long, but this is her in her first video selling her new book, which is called Independent.
And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes.
Identity politics?
And not be so partisan.
Okay.
And the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in right now is if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you.
Wow. As long as you respect my community. This is a woman, because don't forget, even though it's a tough job as the press secretary and you've got to lie for, this dope she was working for, there's a question and answer period where she gets her own opinions out there. We saw it for 4 straight years. She had that job a long time. Usually they don't last that long. She perpetuated, at that podium in the White House press room, the Fine People hoax. She perpetuated that. She perpetuated, repeated, and pushed from her office and from the podium the Russia hoax 1 and 2. She was part of the messaging that called Trump supporters violent extremists. This is what, and now she's writing a book and telling everybody, the entire nation, that we need to stop the rhetoric. We need to stop the divide. We need to stop this identity politics. Right. Okay, you were part of this. You are part of this above and beyond. And she did plenty of interviews beyond her job, beyond the press room. She was all part of that. She did. Not only was she bad about it, the stuff she did get across was actually incredibly divisive. But now she's got a book. But now she's claiming to be independent. What an insult that is to true independence. But it's okay. Apparently, it's not going so well. She was trying to get a job on MSNBC, reportedly. They don't even want her. And all the Democrats are turning on her. It's an amazing thing. And you see this with politicians all the time, but they're all turning on each other like a pack of rats. It's amazing to see. Which tells you, which is a really good sign of the takeaway here is, from before, a lot of the messaging they said before was a bunch of crap. They didn't even believe each other when they were saying it. Like, they'll all get together and say the same propaganda words to get a message across, but they didn't really believe it. And you can see that now by how they're attacking each other. Stop the divide. She was a divider. Good Lord. All right, I'm out of material. I got to get out of here, and you have to get into your Thursday. Make it a wicked awesome Thursday. Thanks for the follows all along. If you're watching the replay of the live stream later on X, make sure you follow and put your notifications on. You got a friend in me forever if you do that. Also, the audio podcast is there wherever you like to get your audio podcast, whatever platform you're on, and all the social media channels as well. So with all that said, thanks for hanging out with me. We will talk. Who the heck knows what's going to be in the news right now? But again, the main takeaway is, if you want to talk about this budget thing, the pushback and the fighting, in this case, is actually a good thing because we're more aware than ever how important this stuff is now. All right. Have a wicked awesome day. We will talk to you tomorrow.